So a warm welcome to our home, to Microsoft Sweden, from my side. Once again, my name is Anita Raykovic and I'm the CFO for the Swedish subsidiary of Microsoft. I've been in Sweden for 1.5 years now, so this one's going to be in English. You don't want to hear me speak Swedish yet. And I wanted to tell you a bit of a personal story as well as a story about, internal story about how Microsoft changed and transformed within the 12 years that I've been with the company. I started in 2007 in Croatia, coming from KPMG and seeing a lot of different companies across that region, going to New Zealand a bit. So I had the experience of different stages of, it wasn't digitalization yet, but different stages of processes of finance functions within a lot of clients at that time. So Microsoft was a nice start into what was then already quite advanced company. But it was different than today. And the change that we get in this company, the change we went through was a lot of cultural change on top of the digital, the technological change. And in my opinion, the two really go together in the best possible way. So you can't do one without the other. This here is our CFO, Amy Hood, and she had a mission of having finance do smarter things. So do things better, spend our time more on the business, on strategy, rather than produce reports, check numbers, and close months, do forecasts and do budgets. So whatever we used to do before. So is anybody in the audience from the finance function? Good. I can tell you something you don't know that. And it really is about strengthening the business leadership through compliance, accuracy, and efficiency, focusing on investments, focusing on the direction which the company should take. How it looks like, it mirrors the digital transformation vision of the Microsoft as a company. So it's all about the people. It's not about putting the best technology in place. It's about how it serves the business and the people that this business wants to enable, sell to, work with, cooperate with. It's about empowering the employees of that business, or finance function in this case, about optimizing our operations, transforming our products, and engaging with our customers. And how it started, I started in 2007, I told you. At that time, we were doing a lot of manual reporting. We were using our own static tools. Excel is a Microsoft product, so we used to do everything in Excel. At that time, it was, pretty advanced. We had pivots, which would give us our sales results once a day. It didn't happen that often that a company had that. But still, we really wanted to be better because a lot of that data was questions. A lot of the reports that we were producing were ad hoc, manual. There was a lot of work around it. Around 2005, I would say, we decided that some things we do in-house needed to be done more efficiently. So we outsourced them to companies that knew better. We outsourced our payroll, we outsourced our accounting, tax, procurement. So a lot of functions went outside and we could focus more on our business topics. Then in 2012, we said, we have over 100 subsidiaries in the world and every one of them does something different. Is there a need for that? Probably not. Why don't we standardize things? So why don't we have the same set of KPIs, the same set of reports that we look at, and why don't we automate them? So everybody should just look at the data and then interpret that data, give insights to the business, instead of everybody thinking of their own way to reinvent the wheel. That worked pretty well. So we had the discipline at the core, where systems were the same, they were trusted, they were there on time, and flexibility at the edge, which was, let's say, 80-20 rule of doing things like that. And then this is the age of modern finance, as we like to call it, where we really transform our work using the cloud technology that we had and using it in these 4 areas that you see up there. And it's basically all about this. So it's about how you get from data to action and create value in the best and the shortest possible time. if you look at it from the beginning, it started with BI. So looking at what happened, looking at a lot of static reports, then we moved on with Power BI. We usually use our own technology, you know, it's called dog feeding. So whatever we produce, we give it to our employees first to make sure that it's good enough before it goes out. So we started with Power BI, I would say, some years before it actually was going into production. And it really decreased the time from manual processes to decision making. So you had these interactive dashboards. You didn't have to have 50 slides in a meeting. You could have one dashboard and then click on the 50 different views on it. Then we moved on to advanced analytics and really think about, it's good to know what happened, but you know, it's in the past. Do we care so much? We need to know what's going to happen. So we need to be able to predict the behavior of our customers, to predict certain industry trends, to use that for our business planning, look outside, not just look into our own internal historical data, and then look into the future. Then a little bit more going into machine learning models, into AI, predictive analytics with recommendations of what should we do. So what is the best geographical area in the world to invest, where the growth will be bigger. And then a lot of automation as well with certain processes, internal ones. I will tell you about one of them, where we introduced a lot of bots into our internal interactions, some of external as well, to make sure that we use our people's time in the best possible way. It really changed the way that we use our time. We have 130,000 people employed at Microsoft. We have over 100 sales locations. We have over $100 billion in revenue. So how those people spend their time should be really important to us. So we said, why don't we kind of flip this pyramid over and have task management, transactional expertise, the operational activities decreased, and have the focus of our finance organization go more into the strategic thinking, influencing, project management, thinking about the business knowledge and not about digging up the numbers. And we do it in these 4 areas. So financial analysis and reporting is one, then strategy and forecasting, business planning basically, business process automation, and risk management, which is spanning the whole company basically. Some examples of how we do that, or the areas where we actually made those changes. You have modern business management portals. There is a new tax analytics platform. We have interactive financial statements, which for me as an ex-auditor is a specifically exciting one. So to make the FS automated, to make it interactive, to make the numbers change automatically as the numbers in SAP change behind it, that all the comments are captured, that everything is super fluid between the people who are collaborating on them. We do our global reviews on KPI Lake with thousands of different KPIs that we use. Customer lifetime value analytics, super useful one specifically for the consumer business. So looking at how we will capitalize on a certain individual customer through his behavior with us, and not just as a single product or a single transaction that we have with them. Strategy and forecasting, I'm going to mention a few of these examples later. It's a machine learning revenue forecasting. That's, you know, we've been super deep into that because here in the field we are the ones that used to do that. Predicting Xbox game volume. So that was the one about supply. I won't show you the details of that project because it's still in experimental phase, but it's saying that there are people out there playing our games. It's not about looking into how much we sold the last game. It's about listening about the excitement that there is outside in the market, what the gamers want to play, and then using those to actually predict the production volumes of the Xbox games. We're not sure yet it works perfectly. We're not sure that it's better than what we used to do manually, but that's something that we really are exploring for the past few years. real estate capacity planning, being across the globe, owning, leasing buildings. I'm sure a lot of the retailers are looking at the same issues there and the same challenges as we are. Then there is the credit and collection chatbot that I will mention. There's a lot about internal tools like the global policy tool, travel tool, predictive analytics in terms of high-risk transactions. So we don't do like simple random sampling, we do smart sampling. We go where the risk is biggest, and there we really evaluate the efficiency of our internal controls and then work on the best mechanism to prevent those risks. Going a bit deeper into one area here, we have the credit and collections chatbot. Having all those employees around the world, there is a complex process from when a person in the field sells something to a consumer to the time where that actually gets processed, billed, paid. And that created a lot of churn in our own operations. So people in the operation centers used to spend days, if you add up all that together, answering questions. So first sales would sell something, then credit and collections would need to check the customer's credit limit, then they would send it back to the contracting office, who would check all the, T's and C's on the documents, then they would send it back to the sales, then credit and collections would need to get the money. So it was a lot of people pinging each other and spending time on finding out information of the stage in the process. At the ends, so at high peaks, it took so much of everybody's time. So that was one of the areas where the company really said, let's not just mirror the process we have, let's think where the value is. And I think a lot of these examples are not about, okay, let's just go in and automate whatever we have, and what we're doing now is good enough, so let's just redo it digitally. Yeah. Sorry? 5 minutes. Thank you. But really think about, is this the right thing that we're doing? Is it creating the business value? Are we putting in place the right things so we are creating the right things for our business? And then we said, okay, this doesn't make sense. We're having thousands of people wasting each other's time. Why don't we put in something that is automatic, that speaks to all of these systems? So there are like 5 systems in the background. There's the contracting system, the billing system, the credit check system. Why don't we create a bot that's going to be connected to all of them, that could really answer all of these questions in a very simple manner? So you ask the bot a question in English, he translates it to his own computer language, connects to the right systems, and give you the answer that you need. It took 2 to 4 weeks to build and implement, but that's an exaggeration. That's what it took to implement. Then it took a year to teach the users that it's actually there, to make sure that the frequently asked questions were the right ones, to make sure that all the systems were in sync, so you don't get 2 days old data. So it was really, really a lot of learning and a lot of fixing it on the go. But in the end, it really decreased the response speed for 5 to 10 minutes. It was 9 minutes for the 320,000 transactions that we had every month. So multiply that. People needed 10 minutes to go into the relevant system, type it in, tell somebody, to really 5 to 10 seconds that you get the answer to. It decreased the labor effort by these almost 2,000 hours a month. And we used our own technology to do that. But technology is not the point. The point is what actually was the business outcome for us of making this change. So I told you the story already. Lessons learned from this is you can't take data shortcuts from all of these changes. So you really need to make sure that you have the right data points when you're building machine learning revenue models, when you're building the chatbots, when you are changing a process fundamentally. Early wins matter. So make sure that everybody knows that we have this and it's really doing well. So the organization keeps on testing, using, improving it. celebrate the risk takers. We always have one U8, user acceptance testing country. So we go and say who's going to volunteer. And then really that country should have, you know, the right place in this project. Partnering between business, finance, CIO, super essential. Leadership must prioritize this and keep it improving. The first version is never going to be the perfect version. It's about culture, as I said. So how we do it now is different than we used to. So there's a slide that I didn't show you, but it's about the process. How this works is an experimentation environment where people from the organization come and nominate the business challenges they see. And then after that nomination, it goes into the experiment phase, where data scientists, finance, business owners partner through the project, so phase experimentation to phase of production, and we have like 20 of those on the finance page currently. So really making sure that we are keeping the door open, that it's not, okay, what does the leadership think is the problem or is the challenge we need to do? It's about opening this discussion forum and the work forum for the whole organization to contribute. Identifying the right areas of opportunity, making sure that we embrace this disruption, that it's okay to say, you know, why are we doing this? It's not working. Why don't we think about a different way to measure things, about a different way to interact with our customers, and really growing our capabilities. So making sure we all understand what we are doing here. It's not about the number, it's about the customer behind, it's about different geography and how they work, or how the business in Sweden is different than the business in India. You know, that's what we learn when we look at the data like this. And then really taking actions after it. If we just implement a report or a model for its own sake, it doesn't really matter. What matters in the end is that we change our behavior and that it makes a difference in the way that we do our business. So it's changed tremendously in those 10 years that I've been here. I can say that the work that we do now is much more fun. It feels much more impactful, and it's less tedious. And this culture, I think, is what enabled it. It's not the technology and it's not the data that we have. It's actually embracing the culture that change and questioning things and improving things is something, and failing is something that we do day to day, and just trying to be better at what we do. So, cool. Thank you.